Landing back at Five Lakes Garage, and today we're doing some more woodworking, baby. Alright, you've been following along the channel, you know I've been heavily into woodworking here lately. Don't worry, I'm gonna get back into metal stuff and also down to some automotive a little bit later. But right now, I gotta do some woodworking because I have too many projects to count. But the other day, I got a phone call from my buddy Brad, and he hooked me up. Let's take a peek over here at exactly what I picked up. So if you can see here, there are 7 slabs of red oak. It has been milled down, it has been dried out for years, and it is ready to go. And what we're going to do today, well actually the next few days, is that I got to pay him back. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to make him a cutting board. I'm going to do something a little bit different than what I've done before. Most of it's going to be coming out of this red oak that I picked up from over there, but we're going to do a little bit of design and try to extend our repertoire of skills. So this is what it looks like. This has been cut down to manageable size, almost, but it's still a little bit big, so we're going to take care of that. But if you spend a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, you get it to look like this. Now this is red oak. I'm actually going to take it out of the where the tree kind of started splitting. So I got a few more to do with these to cut them down to something manageable size. We're going to rip them down on the table, we're going to put them together, and then we're going to put them all together and then sand them and then make an awesome cutting board. And you're going to come along with me, hopefully, unless you already left, and then maybe you can check back later. So let's go. First thing you need to do is get your safety gear, glasses, because you got to be able to see later, and also that planer is really loud and this wood is hard as crap. Gonna be deaf. Alright, so yeah, camera problems. I was trying to do a time lapse to show you just me constantly putting crap into the planer. It did not work out. Camera died. Way to go, GoPro. Anyway, I got everything actually planed down, cut down into manageable chunks. So now they are about 1.75 inches thick. I did have to take quite a bit of it off to actually get all the grooves and stuff like that, but they are flat. Look at that. Anyway, all right, this is all the chunks that I have, and this is all the chunks that I'm going to use for the cutting board. Now, what we're going to do now is I already set the table saw up to about 1.75 inches, which is the width, the thickness of this guy here. And all I'm going to do is actually cut this down into strips. Once I cut it down into strips, then I can actually place everything together and figure out if I want to go up with it, down with it, sideways, whatever, and then glue it all together and figure out my design. Now, some of this stuff is not going to be used. Obviously, this crack right here, not ideal, so I'll probably have to cut that off. So this is the working piece. This is the scrap crap. Same thing with this. This one's all curved. All that's going to have to get cut off. That's why I got the saw all set up. Now each one's going to be a little bit different on which one, how you're actually going to cut it. Now on this one, there you go, this one, actually all the grains are going up and down. Okay, sure. But then you have this guy. Now this guy right here was actually right where the tree started to fork out. And so the grains are going all over the place. Now it doesn't make a difference which direction you actually cut this thing in. It's all going to come out in the end, because that's the design we're actually going for. And also, when you cut this, look at the rest of it. Like this right here is all cut in. All that's going to be gone. So what I'm going to do is actually cut it this way, and then I can cut the ends off in order to try to save as much as possible. And if I need more, I got more over there. But anyway, let's go get this stuff stripped down so we can actually have some logs to work with. Actually, I lied. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and put this on the joiner to make sure this is actually true 90 degrees. Everywhere I'm going to cut, I'm going to put some marks on all these boards to make sure which way we're actually going to cut it. And then I'm going to join at least one side, so when it puts it onto the fence, it's hopefully going to be true. But I need a pencil. And what's sad, I still need a pencil. Yep, still no pencil. Ha! I'm a pencil. Boy, that was a lot of sawdust. I really need a dust collector. It's coming. Got it on order, should be here next week, and then we get to run a bunch of videos of how we're gonna actually set it up. I'm gonna put it downstairs. Anyway, got everything down in strips. I went ahead and cut off the sections that obviously we can't use that part right there. But do we throw this away? No! If you do, I'm sorry, but you're an idiot. Because that could be wine stoppers, that could be pens, that could be so many different things. You can strip it down and actually make a small insert for the cutting table, the cutting board. So you can have a big brick, little brick, big brick, a little brick. If you get the measurements right, it will kind of fit like a jigsaw puzzle and make it look awesome. So don't throw this stuff away. Put it into a box, and then you can make stuff out of it later. Well, this is what we got so far. It looks so pretty. All right, this should be enough to make a cutting board, or maybe two of them. Everything has been cut down. Some of them are short, some of them are long, but we're gonna go ahead and cut them into small little chunks and then put them all together and glue them up. We're just gonna probably get a bunch of glue all over my table, which we will figure out that later. Maybe I'll put down some parchment paper to get it to where it'll actually come off pretty easily. But everything is nice and flat. Everything is true. Everything is great. I even got a couple of them with some bug holes in it. That's going to be great because I'm going to fill those up with this little epoxy stuff, and it's just going to add character to it. We're not going to leave that open because, you know, food and stuff get down there and they cause problems. Now, I have had a few people come to me and say that, hey, don't make your cutting boards out of oak. Something about bacteria. If you keep it sealed, you should be fine. So we're going to make one out of oak anyway. All right, what's the next step? All right, I don't know. All right, I'm back from scouting. Now I'm going to work on this for about 10 minutes because then I got a day job tomorrow. You know how that goes. But all we're actually doing now is actually going to cut these things into small little cubes and take our blocks, small little cubes, and then we're going to put them all together. Now I've already done a few, so I'm going to show you just a little sneak preview what I'm thinking about this cutting board. Alright, so this is basically what I'm thinking, and if you can see this, so you have grains in all different directions. You have straight grains, you got off grains, you got whatever, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. So I'm either going to do just straight up checkered, or maybe we can just go half and half and then just cut off the edges. I don't know yet. We'll find out, but all I do know is I need a lot more of these. So I have a lot of pile there. I have a table saw here, and we might actually have to modify it to be able to get a little bit closer so that we can actually make this. But we should have plenty of little cubes from that pile. So I'm going to try to get as much done as I can before it gets too late, even though it's a little bit too late anyway. I just love woodworking. And I love working with my tools. Woo! Alright, there we go. Got them all cut down. I just have to reposition every one of them just to make sure that I'm happy with it with the grain pattern. But we're looking at about 28 3/4 by 16 inches. That should be good enough. So what I have to do now is actually take each one of these pieces and actually sand it down, because as you can see, it's got a little bit of a little burr there. So I can either take my belt sander, which is over there. Take my belt sander just to hit it real quick, or I might take the palm sander just to hit that, just to knock it down. Probably go do some 220 grit or something like that. Nothing huge. I don't want to take a lot of it off. Once I get every cube nice and tight, then we're going to place everything, start gluing everything, clamping, screwing, whatever we got to do to actually get this thing done and get it done right. But for now, I'm going to go to bed because I have a day job. Yeah. All right. See you in the next day or so. I'm going to have different clothes on. Same old project though. All right, welcome back to the wind tunnel. It is a new day. and I kind of had some ups and downs, I have to say. So I want to get this thing all glued in. I've already went through and I took a palm sander and I just had kind of scuffed it up just a little bit to try to get rid of some of the little edges that the table saw actually left. So I tried this first. So I just used all my clamps. I can only put 3 at a time, but I'm not liking it. Not liking it. I might actually use that to actually turn on the lathe for something. I'm not sure what yet. Maybe a ginormous wine stopper. I don't know. But I do have some extra ones, which is awesome. I still got the saw set up, so I can still cut those out. So basically what I'm trying to do is I'm going to set up a jig. Alright, this is kind of what I came up with. So all I did was take a piece of plywood, and I got one line here, and I got one line here. This right here is a 90-degree turn. How do I know that? Because I have a square. So I can do this without dropping it. Look at that. Pretty darn close, I have to say. Now I screwed it down to each other, and the idea is I'm going to put all the blocks, I'm going to put glue all over the darn thing. I'm going to get glue everywhere. We're going to stick it in here. I have some other ones that I'm going to stick on the outside, and it's going to squeeze everything in there, hopefully uniformly. So I not only got to squeeze it this way, I got to squeeze it that way. So that's why I have this guy. And all I really did was take a piece of 2x4 and cut it down. And I cut it down, then I hit the planer, then I hit the joiner and stuff to make sure these guys are true and pretty straight. As straight as I can possibly get them. So I'm going to cut these down a little bit so that it will fit inside my board, and then I can use my big clamps to squeeze all this in there. Now we're going to be working with glue. Now this glue is some strong stuff. You're going to break the board way before you break the glue, because I am using this Tight Bond 3. No, it's not a sponsor, and I just like it because it's some good stuff. So I want to put something down on this board. Now you can use newspaper, you can use tin foil, you can use whatever you have. I'm going to use parchment paper, only because that's the first thing I grabbed out of my wife's kitchen. Actually, I do most of the cooking, but she does a lot of it too. So does the kids. So I borrowed that, just don't tell her. And I'm just going to go ahead and line this up, which is what I have here. And all this is going to do is keep the glue from getting down onto the actual board, because you are not going to be able to get that out if you had glue all over it. So I'm going to get this thing set up and I'll show you exactly how it works as soon as I figure it out. I haven't done this before, but it's fun trying. I think I'm going to need a staple gun. I'm going to find a staple gun. Be right back. Alright, I'll be ready to go as soon as I get the glue off my fingers. Anyway, everything came out just fine. I'm not going to pick it up because I don't want to mess it up. But, I have my parchment paper down. If you look at it, I got glue that's seeping up. I got everything that's relatively flat. The reason why I'm going to have to make 2 of these because I want to put 2 of them together. This one here is about 9 inches long, wide. I can make another one about 9 inches, so it'll be 18 by 29. Main reason is because that guy there is only at 12.5 inches. So I need to have it smaller than that. So if once I get another one of these, once it dries, and if it stops putting glue on me, put 2 of these together, glue them up again, maybe put some biscuit joints in there or something like that, but there you go. We're almost there. See how she looks. I don't know. Never done one of these. But guess what? It'll be another day. Yeah, this type of stuff takes days to finish. I'm gonna go grab a beverage and come up and start cutting some more pieces. See you in a bit. All right, another day. All right, we're getting ready to go ahead and unpackage this guy and just see if it's actually gonna work. I hope it is. Let's see what we got. I need new clamps. These things are ancient. I have to say parchment paper for the win. All right, I got a couple of gaps in there, but that should be fine. When we actually start sanding it down, what we'll do is put a little bit of glue in there, sand it down, then all the sawdust will get in there and get nice and tight. But look at that. At least that's half of it. All right, let's get this guy ready, because guess what? We got another one to do. I got all of them cut out over there. I just got to glue it. We're going to stick it in here. Have two of these. We're going to plane them both down, and then we'll put them all together. Then we're going to sand the ever-loving snot out of it. Go ahead and clean up the edges, clean up the glue, and bam! We're going to have another, actually, rather unique cutting board. Yeah. All right, let me get those pieces, get them glued in. A lot of gluing. We're gonna take this and the other one, we gotta take that one out and actually put it through the planer. Now we're gonna do this to be able to get a lot of this glue crap off. Anything that's really high, get rid of it. And then once everything is flat, then we get to put the thing together. This is gonna be one big flopping cutting board. Anyway, let me get this thing set up and bam! We're gonna throw some more chips because my dust collector is not here yet. It's killing. All right, so we're over here at the planer. Now I'm gonna go ahead and plane down the one side. I'm gonna let the other side dry just a little bit longer because I really don't want to mess it up. But we need to prep the actual planer before we actually use it for something like this. One of the things that you're gonna do, one, change the blades. Already did that. The other, lubricate all of the, you know, the handle, the screws, all that stuff, lubricated down. I usually use this stuff, some liquid silicone. No, not a sponsor, but I like to use that. Get a little squirt, roll it through. And the other stuff I use is called beeswax. Pretty simple. Got a little sponge. I actually got it from the guy that I bought the saw from. But anyway, wax the entire thing underneath here. You want to put enough wax on here that your board is going to slide. Well, they're flat. All right, so we have this section. We also have this section. I have to straighten that one edge up right there in order to glue them together and get rid of that gap. Probably just even do it on the joiner. Do it on the joiner over there and just get a quick little buzz. Now I'm gonna have to cut off a little bit around the edge, only because it was chipping away over here on the end when I was putting it through the planer. That's all right. I have a nice table saw to be able to do that. Anyway, joiner, glue it, get one big slab. That's a big cutting board. Not sure what he's going to be cutting with, but he's going to be cutting something. All right, we're back on the cutting board here, and yeah, got a few imperfections that we need to work out. But this is how we're actually going to get it done. So if you take a look here, I had a couple instances where, like right here, it kind of chipped off, that chipped off, stuff like that. There's a couple gaps. Some of them are bigger than others. And what we're going to do is actually fill those in. Now, you don't want to just throw glue in there. Kind of looks kind of doofy. And not only that, glue is, you know, it's kind of soft. It holds, but it's soft. And you don't want to sit there and cut on something and then cut through the glue. So we need to add some sawdust to it. It's kind of like in World War II, and they try to make an aircraft carrier out of ice. Okay, they just use sawdust in order to make the ice strong enough to be able to make an aircraft carrier. It's the same concept. So what I did was actually go grab my belt sander, this heavy old thing, mostly because it's a couple things. One, it's going to cut this thing down pretty quick because I can't put it through the planer because now it's just too big. And the biggest thing though, it has a dust collector. Now I've been staying on this thing for a few minutes. It is oak. It is extremely hard. It flakes, but it is hard. But I have about that much sawdust on the bottom of this bag. Now, all I got to do to get more is sand some more. But I'm gonna grab some glue and I'm gonna show you exactly how we're gonna get it done. All right, this is what we're gonna work with. Got me a little bowl that I turned a long time ago. This is actually my very first bowl. It's out of a piece of pine. But anyway, I just dumped it inside. Now this is all the sawdust that I got from my oak. Now I'm going to take my glue. Now I like to use the Tite Bond 3. It's a bit of an overkill for this. You can do 2, just don't do 1. But I'm going to use 3 because I got 3. So what we're going to do is actually put some in your hand. Yes, you're going to get stuff everywhere. So I would highly recommend taking your rings off. But the good thing about this glue is that you can easily wipe it off your skin. So let's put some in our hand. Then we're going to take some sawdust and we're going to sprinkle it in there. Alright, and we're going to make a paste thick enough to actually get in there and harden up. But you also want it soft enough or loose enough so that it actually get into the groove. There you go. That's about right. Check it out. Fantastic. So everywhere that you want to fill in, just work it in there and let it dry. Now we still need to sand it, and we might need to do 2 or 3 coats of this stuff to make it nice and flush. Alright, we pretty much got one side just about done. We gotta let it sit there for at least a few hours to actually make sure that the glue actually dries. Once it dries, then you can just hit it with some sandpaper and actually smooth it out. Just know that if you do it too soon, your paper will be garbage. But I think in the end, it's gonna be beautiful. I hope anyway. But now I gotta get all the glue off my fingers. Anyway, so once again, I'll see you later. I think I might make a few pens while I'm waiting. Alright, it's only been a few hours, but that is okay because that's all you really need. The surface area is actually nice and dry, so we can actually sand it. Now you will have to do this a couple of times depending on your holes. Now I have a couple of bug holes over here that got a little bit deep. The sawdust will keep it from actually sinking all the way down, hopefully. But it's not going to be perfect, so you might have to do 2 coats. But right now we're going to take some 60 grit and just knock off all this glue and make this thing flat and less holy. I'm back, another day. All right, so we got this guy sanded down. It's actually looking pretty decently. All the cracks are filled in, all of the holes are filled in. The only thing we have left would be the edges. As you can see, they are pretty chipped up. So I'm just going to use the table saw to go through and just cut this really slowly. I'm going to do it slowly because I don't want this stuff to chip off anymore. Once we get that done, we're going to router off the edges. Actually, I'm going to do this side. I'm going to do this side. I'm going to do this side and do this side, so we can try to make this outside lip as close to even as possible, because these pieces are the same size as those, but if I cut a little piece off of this whole outer border is going to be slightly smaller. We're gonna hit it over here on the router to just round the edge. Gotta do it really slow with this stuff because it is chippy. Kind of makes chips. Anyway, that's what we got. Alright, pretty much got it all routed off. Nice and smooth. We still got to sand it, obviously. Little tip. You got your router table really close to something else. Move your router table. I hit the thing, now I chipped it. So I am a little bit disturbed. See, a little tiny chip right there. I'm a bit teed off, I have to say. Got a decent sized shop and can't use it right. Anyway, I'm just gonna sand it down the rest of the way and we should be ready for the next step, which I'm gonna show you a trick. Oh, I'm about sawdust out. But, all right. So everything is sanded down, everything is rounded, everything is actually looking pretty good except for that one little chip, which I'm still irritated about. But this little trick here I actually learned from Mr. Young. And if you look at that guy, that's, if you guys need something, you can contact that email address. Maybe they can make you something. But anyway, but here's the trick that he kind of told me about. Now, what you want to do when you're sanding this stuff, go to 60 grit, get the shape, get the 80, the 100, the 120, the 150, the 180, 220. You know how it goes. Just step it up. But before you hit that last 320, spray it with water. And what this is going to do, and actually I got the bad dog water. Put it on spray. Oop. There you go. We're going to spray this down. One, to make it look good. And two, what that's going to do is actually bring up all the pores. It's going to open it up and express the wood out. Now, it was nice and smooth. Once I just got it with water, it is going to bubble up. And what we're trying to do is let this stuff dry. As you can see, it's already drying here. And then hit it with the 320, and it will stay smooth. And what he was talking about was that you're finished with a cutting board. You put oil on it, you put beeswax on it, it is smooth as a baby's butt. But then you wash it. Kind of scrub it down, put some water on it, and then it gets rough to the touch. Well, that roughness is the pores and the grains opening up. We want to pre-do that. That's why we spray it down with water. We're going to hit it with a little bit of 320, and then it's going to be beautiful. Once we do hit it with 320, I don't think I'm going to put a drip edge on this one, but once we actually sand it down, I'm going to go ahead and put the oils on it and stuff like that. But anyway, as you can see, it's almost dry. There you go. Kind of almost dry here. If you do it while it's wet, all it's going to do is gum up your paper. We don't want to gum up our paper. I'm going to give it a second. All right, it is pretty much dry. A couple little spots down here, but it's okay. It's been about 10 minutes or so. Now I can feel that the texture has actually changed. Now I'm just going to hit it with my sander. Beautiful. All right, just got a couple more sides to do. And we're ready for some oil. All right, this has been all sanded down for the second time after you put on that water. And it is smooth. But now it is my favorite time. That's the time to put the oil on. Now it looks kind of dull, kind of grainy, a little scratchy. Doesn't look great until you put the oil on. Ah, I'm excited. Hold on, let's go. Oh yeah, baby. Gotta love it. Here's just a rag. Now this rag I've been using for a while. I'm just gonna do a little section. It's got some oil already in it. Not enough, obviously, but yeah, look at that. Man, it just looks great. All right, so the oil that I'm using, it is cutting board oil from Walrus Oil. And it's got a bunch of different things. And it, to me, it works like a champ. I'm gonna have to use a lot of it on this board. So anyway, just grab a hold of my rag and mush it all around. Now, unfortunately, this is going to take a few days because I'm going to coat it down. And then we're going to let it sit, let it soak in. We're going to coat it down, let it sit, soak in. The more times you do it, the longer it will stay. Look at that. In my bag, the wind is killing me. Bam! Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. That is awesome. I got a couple imperfections that I do see, but hey, it's gonna be a cutting board. It's gonna have cuts and scrapes and everything like that. So, before, after, before, after. Ah, I'm so excited. All right, I'm gonna come back here in a few more days and actually do this up and do it up right. I got one more step after that, which is puts the beeswax on there because you really want to seal it. You don't want any bacteria and stuff to get in this. Some do say that oak is really bad for bacteria to grow, but as long as you keep the beeswax on there and keep all the other sealants on there, you should be fine. Just don't come back to me if you get sick. But anyway, I have a lot of coats of oil to put on, and I'll see you in a couple days to wrap this up. Man, what a difference. That looks awesome. Anyway, see you in a couple days. Hey, guess what? It's about finished. The only thing we have left to do now is put some beeswax on it. But before I do that, I got to show you what it looks like. Look at that. Bam. Alright, so I've been putting some oil on this thing. It's soaking in nicely. It's still nice and soft. It's still nice and smooth. So the only thing we need to do now is polish it up with some beeswax. And when you do that, just take yourself a rag and your beeswax and go to town with it. I'm going to use it a lot. It's a big darn cutting board. Alright, see what she does. Let's get a good amount on my rag. Start in the corner, get some good circles going. You're not only sealing it, you're trying to polish it too. You know, I think it looks pretty good. Alright, so I got a lot more beeswax to put on this thing. I still got to flip it to the other side. I got to do it all the way around. We got to seal this thing up. Any bacteria that gets into any of the holes or anything like that could actually get bacteria in there. When I give it over to Brad, hopefully he can keep it clean and he doesn't have to worry about that, but hopefully this will make him alright. Alright, that's pretty much going to do it for this episode. Hope you liked this one. I learned a lot. This is the first time actually doing it in the block form rather than just the stripes. Definitely know a little bit better things to do next time. If you have any better things, put it down in the comments below. I'm still learning this stuff, and I know some of you out there have done this plenty of times, and you can teach me some stuff. I'm going to try to get out with Mr. Young so he can try to teach me a few extra things, and so then he can teach me, and then I can teach you guys. So anyway, take it easy, have fun, get out there and make your own stuff. To be honest with you, I'm kind of glad this one's going out the door. Oh well. Check out all the other stuff and have fun. Later.